Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to week 5 Valorant action. And tonight I am joined by Epiphany and Cookie. How are we doing tonight, fellas? Starting with you, Epiphany. Let's hear it.
I'm doing good, Skep. Excited for some more Valorant action. And hey, we're deep in the season, week 5 now. Lots has unfolded and lots more to occur. And things are going to start tightening up. Things are going to start getting down to the wire. And the records are going to become more and more important to look at. But yeah, we've got two great matchups on the docket tonight. Skeptor, it's going to be a good one, man.
Yeah, I mean, Cookie, doubleheader up on the cards. What are you looking for to kick off this game one between Lakeville and Minnetonka? Or I mean, sorry, not Minnetonka, St. Thomas Academy.
Well, St. Thomas Academy have been making a move towards trying to get to the head of the midfield, right? Lakeville North have something to prove coming into this game, really. They've had a tough season up until this point, and this has got to be their turning point if they want to continue to succeed in this season and really make their name known within the league. St. Thomas Academy, though, is really coming out on top here in terms of the favorites for the win tonight.
Yeah, Shakopee so far, or Lakeville North, my apologies, so far sitting at 1-3. So haven't really gotten off to a good start, and we are reaching that middle ground, right? Week 5, you are running out of time to even get this ship pointed in the right direction, right? You're sitting 2 games back from 500, so it's kind of a must-win game here tonight for the side of Lakeville, whereas St. Thomas sitting at 500, sitting at 2 wins, 2 losses, is feeling pretty comfortable with themselves, right? They've gotten a few wins, they've had a few tough games, but have a chance to get back in the win column and, get back to a positive win rate. So I'm sure that the side of St. Thomas is coming in with a fire lit underneath them tonight. Epiphany, we are going to the most common map in Mnvl Valorant history, man. It's Ascent. It's a classic. What do you like about this map?
I mean, I think just the mid area is really, really interesting in Ascent. There's a lot of rotation capability over there. I see teams sometimes hit routes. Sometimes they'll just straight up go into the middle if they're attacking, maybe defending too, hit a route towards a pinch, maybe. I mean, regardless, there's a lot to play around with on that part of the map. You also look at the way that the sites are made. That A site, especially, is one where if you're an attacking team and you have good initiation and you're able to get in there, find some of those initial kills, get some of that information quickly, you can get a great A site take early on in a round, and it can be very hard to break open if you're a defense. Lots of different nuances when it comes to Ascent. Of course, our most common Mnvl map, and I really wouldn't have expected to start anywhere else.
Yeah. I mean, it's so common, right? Teams practice it, they play it all the time. It's like the most just middle ground, basic, straightforward map you can ask for. I mean, Cookie, your team is pretty notorious for playing this map themselves. What's something that you really like and want to highlight going into the game?
Well, I definitely like Piff's point on initiation. I feel like Ascent lends itself really nicely to all initiators in the game, especially characters like Sova. Sova and his Recon Dart can easily pick out people pushing in through B lobby, and with an Odin, you can mow them down if they're not careful. And on A site, stuff like Sky Flashes coming around the corner are very hard to look away from if you're not careful, so initiation is a really important key tactic for getting onto this site. In terms of what I really want to see tonight, I want to see those initiators come out. I want to see interesting utility use tonight. I want to really see some unique plays going on, building off each other, and really pulling together some nice site pushes.
For sure. Folks, players are ready to get into it. I believe we are going to get Agent Select underway. So, before we get into it, any kind of predictions going here, Cookie? What are your thoughts?
Well, we're definitely going to see what characters come out here. I am personally sitting on the side of St. Thomas Academy here. They're really proving themselves to be a upper midfield team. And as characters come out, we're seeing characters such as Chamber coming out, and we're got Omen with fish sticks. This is going to be an interesting comp here, but I think in general, from what it seems, St. Thomas Academy is building a better team right now and are in the running for the win.
Yeah, getting into Agent Select, we had a question about Harbor going into the match tonight. Admin received some questions on if Harbor was allowed, and yes, we have passed that time margin of Harbor not being allowed to be picked. So the hover for the time being, we'll have to see if that one gets locked in. Oh, was it all for bait? It's too close to call. They're thinking about it.
They're Lakeville is definitely taking their time to choose their characters here. Chamber, being the only character they locked in, is a really useful character on Ascent in particular, being able to, for example, hold mid down
Choose
with
your
the
agent.
Headhunter, and being able to teleport onto back site of B site from mid is really versatile and can cover a lot of area versus a character like Omen, who might be stuck in an area like that and cannot move so easily.
Yeah, definitely an interesting point to bring up. Chamber, the Sentinel for the side of Lakeville, and St. Thomas opting for the Killjoy. So, quite different in the playstyle. Both offer a very sturdy defensive hold. We'll have to see. Getting ready to go, though. I'm excited, man. Double duelist on the side of Lakeville. The Harbor getting busted out here tonight. I mean, first time we're going to be seeing Harbor here at Mnvl. So, going to be interesting.
Totally. I'm super intrigued to see how they mix his utility in with the rest of the agents on his team. His utility can be really, really useful in post-plant situations, and along with Sage, I feel like they could both hold a really strong post-plant situation against an A-site push, for example.
Yeah, I mean, starting out on attack for the Killjoy, maybe the only part of this that looks unoptimal for St. Thomas, right? She is much better being able to just set up and lock down a site. So that's the one thing I think I want to highlight probably for St. Thomas. But if they can manage... Oh.
What's going on?
I think we had a disconnect. Might have been myself. So we might be able to just try to go back in. I believe my Valorant shut down. So if that's the case, my bad. We'll try to run it back here and see what the problem was. Unless it was one of the players. So either way, should be solved pretty quick. We have Epiphany back for a second. If his mic's still here, I want to give a second to give Epiphany kind of what his final, expectations or thoughts would be for the outcome of this match.
Yeah, I just want to say I want to see Harbor. I think that is something that'd be really, really interesting to see because he's the new agent just now allowed after 2 weeks, and I want to see some of that new gameplay. I want to see how he fits in with the dynamic of the rest of the agents on the team that he may get chosen for. I think there's a lot of interesting things that Harbor can do that I think could be definitely really useful in an Mnvl match, especially on Ascent.
I like that for sure. Folks, want to take a quick second to give a shout out to VERSION1. Okay, I'm repping the Purple Pride tonight. These guys have been primary sponsor here at Mnvl now for multiple seasons in a row, guys. All of our players get to play for free, no registration fees, thanks to VERSION1. What they have done for the local community here in Minnesota is just astounding, man. Collegiate level, high school level, always giving back to the people, right? I mean, Epiphany, you want to talk about some of the awesome initiatives that they have going on right now at VERSION1?
Yeah, I mean, they got Visionaries, Women in Gaming, always a great thing, of course. Big events coming up as well. The Rocker Home series, if you're a Call of Duty fan like me, you can watch the LAG come out, Mutineers, Boston, London, come and play Rocker live on LAN. Going to be super fun. Going to be awesome. It's going to be a great event. Yeah. And all kinds of other great stuff for VERSION1.
Dude, Vibe Squad too, right? They are always at events. It's a perfect entry way to get your kind of foot into esports, be around the people, increase that energy. I mean, Vibe Squad have always been a boost and a benefit to V1. So just nothing but the best. All of that information available at version1.gg. So get on over there. And I mean, other than that, we're going to try to get ready to get back into this game. Hopefully we get in. Ascent, I'm in agreement with Epiphany, though, as well, man. The Harbor can definitely shake up how these teams are going to play going into tonight. So I am very excited and looking into it. Cookie, have you played against any Harbors yet in your Valorant gameplay? Because I have only seen him about once, and I think I've played him twice.
Definitely not the most common character quite yet, although he is still very brand new, so it'll take some time before he becomes very common amongst players. Harbor in general has proven to be probably not the best at what he's supposed to do, but also not the worst. And I'm interested to see if some of these teams can come up with some good ideas as to how to make his utility work. As in solo queue, it can be a little difficult to work as a team. I feel like in a team tournament setting, his kit might work a lot better when combined with other characters.
All right, we are in game, and we heard the unfortunate news. Apparently, a swap happened now going into the second game, and the Harbor picked Omen. So I don't know if we have anything saying otherwise in the rules, but normally you're not allowed to change your characters after a lock has happened. They also picked the Killjoy as well. So I'm kind of not happy about these agent swaps. This is pretty against how normal rules go. That's what I will say. Because, I mean, you get a chance to see the other team's composition, and they switch up entirely, too. They go Reyna instead of Jett. So Lakeville has completely altered their comp from what they were picking. So definitely a bit of a suspect move, I'm going to say, to kick off here. St. Thomas on attack, though. Cookie, what are you looking for?
I'm looking for that utility coming out with that Sova drone trying to make that utility work. We've got Reyna on boat house, and the Jets just moving in. They're making a really good move in with their utility.
One player close, though. Faye doesn't get checked. Galaxy adds to the tally now. 4v2. Numbers have dropped in favor of Lakeville, and they are going to clean up that pistol round early. It's a 1-0 start to this one.
Yeah, you love to see that utility just coming out, making good use of it, just jumping around the opponents, right? They're just finding those areas that they can push stuff out of. The early disc push into the upper part of B site there, cleared a pick, opened up the way. The Sova drone kind of gave them some initial information on how to push in, really showing how critical this kind of information can be in early on pushes.
Yeah, and here we have it. Another fast setup towards this B main position. St. Thomas trying to test these waters again, but a stack for now. 3 defenders here for Lakeville. Killjoy turret setup. Okay. All right, that's good. I like it. We are going to drop out of the game, and we are going to reset it and do it the right way. I'm actually very happy that we're doing so because, everywhere else, normally after a failed load into the lobby, you're not allowed to really go back and change your composition after seeing what the opponents did. So making the right call. I'm going to give a little bit of a golf clap to production and the admin on that one. Good looks. We are going to get ready. A reboot. So we are going to see the Harbor. We are going to see the Chamber versus Killjoy matchup, and there will be a Jett on both squads. It seems right. It's not right. It's like, I don't know. We don't have to talk about it much more because it's getting solved. So anyways, but Lakeville got off to a quick start on the defense. So, it's very interesting because now you got to switch up the game plan, right? There's no way you just go back and hit B site again. It's just very interesting, man. There's so many different angles that you can call, and it's plan the attack now. So for the side of St. Thomas, they get that lucky Echo ultimate, that chrono break to run it back again, kicking off pistol round here. Nothing wrong with it. I'm excited for the Harbor, though. I think the people are getting what they wanted, right? We are getting that Harbor. We're getting some of those spicy matchups between the Sentinel battle right now of Chamber and Killjoy. Going to be a very interesting one as we get ready to get back into it, though. Man, I'm excited. Cookie, ready to go again?
Yeah, let's see this happen again. I would definitely make the argument that this false start is giving away kind of critical information that maybe should have still have been hidden till this point. Although with such a character difference, I don't know if that really is going to apply. With this different utility, they're going to play in different setups, different areas, hopefully. If they play the exact same, they're clearly missing the opportunity here to change up their gameplay and prevent, again, losing pistol round.
Yeah, so another opportunity for St. Thomas on the attack. Epiphany, what do you want to see different?
Honestly, I think the pistol round for Lakeville was really big, is what I saw. And maybe a continuation of that would, of course, be another great thing to see. Those pistol rounds, obviously, really, really good for the econ, just for general, making sure that you're starting off with a good lead. I want to see more of that occur. Another thing I want to see is I want to see those Jets really, really play their role well. I want to see those kills come through. I want to see some of those gunfights being taken that need to in order to open up some of those sites, because I know the potential for both of these teams in order to do that. And I think if you're able to win some of those initial gunfights, if you're able to open up those sites, like I said, you can really, really be successful, especially from that attacking side.
Yeah. You know, must-win game tonight. It's week 5. Lakeville sitting at 1-3. St. Thomas sitting at 2-2. So both of these teams not out of it yet, but
Right.
not sitting in, you know, very likable spots. You're definitely wanting to get those numbers up. So both teams going to be hungry for a win here tonight, folks. Getting ready to load back into Ascent here. I mean, for St. Thomas and Lakeville now, another opportunity. Getting ready to dive back in. Any final words, Epiphany, before we load into this one?
Not much other than I'm excited to see the original composition. I think that'll be interesting because, you know, when you are able to see the composition and then change it, you can obviously adapt a lot more easily and your angle becomes completely different. Whereas when you kind of go with the original team strategy, you're having to adapt to the actual plays that are being made in game. So that's what I'm looking to see here is I'm looking to see that harbor be used in the way that it's intended. I'm looking to see the rest of the agents used in the way they're intended, as opposed to just this adaptation based on rosters. I'm looking for the teamwork. I'm looking for communication. That's what's going to make Lakeville win.
Yeah. So interesting, but we load back into game, folks. Right now, Ascent kicking it off one more time. St. Thomas on attack. Lakeville on defense. And now the original composition, we see it for its true nature and beauty. The Harbor, Chamber, and Jet lock. And the standard from what we saw out of St. Thomas. So, and it's a bit of a fake setup going on. So 2 players over at A main and 3 players positioned at tiles. Cookie, an interesting dynamic building up here on this pistol round.
Yeah, there's no way of predicting how Lakeville North is possibly going to hold this after what had just transpired. So I think in general, this kind of split push is a good way of gauging, okay, they play here, or okay, they play there. And once they kind of like put a hole in the wall, they can kind of start moving through it and really getting their foot through the door.
Oh, the trade's coming out early. Phoenix opens up the kills. Nice flash through the tree position. Nice taps on the heady. 236 finds one as well. And now Lakeville find the pistol round. Still, they go back to their original comp, and it still is a successful start here.
St. Thomas Academy had a better push up there in general, but they just could not prevent the defender rotate and just overall domination in gunfight. We'll have to see how that happens after their save round here and how things evolve with rifles. It definitely is going to change the pace of the game if they can keep up with their rifles.
Yeah, now St. Thomas back to their second round strat here of approaching B main. It's Faye with the Marshall holding up close. And if they swing slow, this could be trouble. Shot won't land. Quick dash out coming from the Jet. Now KO'd. Gonna land in a nice shot. Coming out from the chamber. Now getting smoked off for the time being. Galaxy Flare finds one with the Bucky. And now it gets a little bit interesting. Lakeville 5 on 3. Bucky lands another. And it's Lakeville cleaning up, only losing 1.
To be fair, that was St. Thomas Academy's save round. So after their loss in pistol round, obviously they're not going to throw away their economy for that round. So now coming into the third round, we're really going to see their buys come out. We're seeing plenty of rifles. Looks like Lakeville North are going to be on a save, so they're going to be using their weapons from last round to try and maybe uphold their economy lead into the fourth round after this.
Yeah. The traditional bonus round here. Same Marshall position here with the Bucky lineup. But these attackers of St. Thomas now have the rifles and the weapon necessary to put a dent in this armor and its disc to open up the killing here in round 3. Finding shots onto Chamber. Now pushing up through middle map. Lakeville trying to defend nicely. They closed the market door, but now with all this space gathered, it's only a matter of time till St. Thomas lays siege to the B site. Jace on the flank. This could be trouble. The highest
Lakeville-
ranked player here.
Lakeville North have an interesting dynamic to play around here. Once St. Thomas Academy get their foothold in mid, it is very difficult to hold them to one spot, and clearly they kind of push them onto the B site, where now the 2 flank players are going to have to try and kill everybody on site to get bomb down and out.
Now on a 3-on-2 here. Weapons still in favor of the attackers, but they're not ready. The flash out, the swing is good. 236 finds the first. Now in a 2-on-1. Jace throws up the wall, can heal for a second. He's got another flash here, Cookie. So there's very good chance of making this happen. A Vandal to his left. He gets the gun upgrade. Now the flash comes out. Gotta move quickly. A full blind first opponent, but it's Fish Stick on the swing, and it's St. Thomas to find their first of the game.
Critical decision making had to be done there with how the play should have been gone about. With the flash coming out, it was a very easy kill around the corner there. However, Jesse just could not find the guy back sight. It was a very close round though, and bringing the numbers so down really helps their economy in the long run and how this round in particular is going to play out. So as they keep shooting back and forth here, it's going to be interesting to see who can finally make a push towards that kind of commanding lead in this game.
Now St. Thomas on an even playing field with Lakeville on the weapons. An Omen TP heard early. And the swing out, it's a trade 1-for-1. Sage Wall goes up now to deny any further aggression, but look at these attackers moving up through Catwalk here, Cookie.
Spike down mid. Here.
They're really making their move into tree here. They have basically total control.
Oh, it's Disc to find the shots, and now 3-on-2. St. Thomas down a man and no spike on their back. So they're going to have to go back and retrieve this, but do they know Harbor's up close? This could be trouble. They make noise, they don't peek, and Harbor finds the backstab. Not ready for a second. Now Fish Stick will go down. It's Faye with a nice shot, and it is Lakeville with a 3-1 lead.
Overall, a missed opportunity there to probably play safer around that angle after losing a player to tree. I think it was a rather missed opportunity to probably watch that angle and make sure no one decided to stick it. On their play out, I feel like they probably could have collected at least one more if they had not lost to the Harbor in tree there.
Yeah. No, I agree there. You know, what do you want to see different coming out of this round of the St. Thomas push?
I mean, coming out here, it looks like they just kind of need to invest their utility into kind of pushing all together onto a site, trying to get that to work. Just gather information on what is working about individual pushes and what is not. And with that information, you can clearly kind of adapt a tailored play style to how you can get around this Lakeville North play style.
For sure. Nice dash onto the site. Disc big for the first of the round, but it's Faye to find 2 afterwards. Now, Lakeville even up the score again. It's a 2v3. It is St. Thomas trying to get the spike planted, and Kraken greets with the gun and gets taken care of, and it's Lakeville making mincemeat of that St. Thomas push.
Lakeville with the pistols coming out, lucky enough to get a pick. That pick in general is probably very meaningful to their economy at the moment. Picks like that on pistol rounds can be generally the difference between light and full shield when you buy. So those just general easy kills that you get with free guns are always going to be super profitable.
Big point to note here. Faye has upgraded to an operator, so the big sniper coming out, and now a bit of a swap. St. Thomas fully shifting over here to A, but look at this. Jace gets in tucked. They don't know he's here. He only has a sheriff, and all 5 players are on the doorstep. Cookie, this could be either very good or a nightmare, and the wall to break it. They're not going to expect this.
Jace's
Jace,
timing needs to be perfect here.
Oh my goodness, they're not looking at him at all. And he doesn't hit the shots. He gets 2 finally, but now St. Thomas with the man advantage, 3-on-1 situation, and they get a nice bounce back round, honestly.
Very good bounce back. That was hard to watch. The missed shots with the sheriff there, every shot missed opportunity. Although they were still able to collect 2, I feel like maybe taking a little more time there to just settle in with the aim and make sure you're getting that precise shot down probably would have won them the round there, and they wouldn't be up, and St. Thomas Academy wouldn't be up a round now. And Skep, what do you think they should do here to try and kind of prevent stuff like that from happening again?
I think it really comes down to the weaponry, right? Didn't have that rifle, but now Phoenix wasting no time to go aggressive. The flash out, instant taking care of. Aqua shuts down that push. So St. Thomas hold off. And I mean, you know, I like Jace going aggressive, right? Imagine if Jace has a Vandal or a Phantom right there, and none of those players are looking. I mean, 3 are dying minimum, right? So it came down to not the right weapon, but in retrospect, you got to land that first shot. That's the most important one, because if you hit the first one, you're not panicking, and you're going to take your time. But the second you miss, you're like, oh my goodness, and then the panic button is hit. Now, the rotate comes out. It's a 5-on-5 situation. They trying to get out after the Killjoy ultimate goes down, and now dashing out into the site. Aqua finds this one, and now it's a 4-on-3. St. Thomas pushing out effectively onto this B site and gonna get an opportunity to plant the spike.
They have just an overall control of site here. Disc definitely needs to be careful, though, with this amount of people coming out on market. They definitely have to know, though, so this might be profitable.
Gets one. Can he make it 2? Disc will go down. Nice trade from 236. Now, 2-on-2 situation. The res comes out to make it a 3v2. Jace, can you redeem yourself from the final round here? Trying to bounce back and make the 5-on-2 game. They clear out the main. But the knife going to slow down any other utility that they have. 1 back site, 1 on site. It's only a matter of time. Jace finds Fish Stick. Now 1 player left. And Jace finds a 3K. What a nice return round from the Phoenix. Right in the wrongs. And it's Lakeville to find a 5-2 scoreline.
Oh, good.
That res coming out definitely helped their odds on getting that site. Increasing that player number is generally just gonna lend itself to an easier win, right? I think Fish Sticks kind of had a difficult spot to play. They're kind of playing monkey in the middle, right? If his crosshair placement isn't perfect on that catwalk, they're gonna find him. But even though they're making sound on that side, I think it was the wrong decision to switch sides and completely lose his sight on catwalk. His teammate was watching the stairs, and in general, if his crosshair placement was even close on that catwalk there onto site, he probably could have collected at least 1 and evened the playing field.
Yeah, and here we have it now. St. Thomas, a 3 ultimate advantage. A nice early Molotov to hold off any early pushes into A main here. Bladestorm popped already for St. Thomas, and Disc finds the timing in mid, drops Galaxy Flare. An updraft for more, getting flanked from Faye, but does he have the timing to get tucked? Not going to happen. It's Faye to find the dink and execution onto Disc. And now 4-on-4. St. Thomas, yeah, rotating, as you said, but Faye backs up, gets out of sight in time, and now waits for it. Here's them coming. They got to clear close, right? They got to clear close, right? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. This is bad.
Your fault. 1 enemy remaining.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, well, that's what happens when you don't clear close. St. Thomas, that's 2 times now that almost the entirety of the team is not looking in a close corner. So that's just something that you're going to have to fix right now.
I think that's a really, really good example of your point with the weaponry, right? On our A site push there, they tried to clear that kind of amount of people with a Sheriff. Obviously, it didn't work. Now, in a similar situation with the Phantom, it did, and it really was profitable, giving them basically the entire round for not clearing coasts. Little mistakes like that where a defender might be playing is just too important not to take care of, right? And in general, little mistakes like that just cannot keep happening.
Yeah. I mean, here we are now. 6-2. Disc calls the timeout for St. Thomas. They try to recalibrate here and get back into this one. But overall, Lakeville have been dominating on this defensive start. It is a very defense-sided map. But overall, you know, you got to find close to that 4 to 5 margin for St. Thomas on the attack would bode very nicely for the second half of this game.
Generally, when, in my experience, the team would shoot on attacking for, like you said, 4 to 5 rounds on that attacking half. That's kind of what you need to kind of stay in the game going into the second half, right? if you don't have enough rounds to
Don't hold
defend
back.
off of that pistol round, you're just kind of stuck if you lose it, because then you surrender also the bonus round, and it can all just kind of fall down like dominoes if you don't have that buffer.
And St. Thomas peeking into main early, and it's Jace to find the first blood. They call a timeout, but they don't adapt their strategy. They stay on this 5-man ball formation, and it just does not work. You got to gain more information. Look at the defense. They've already eliminated any possibility of a mid threat. There's already 3 players that are rotated over to this A site. St. Thomas yet to rotate. They're walled off, and now they walk forward in main, trying to take more space.
Well, they did not know there was the wall there up until now, so their slow push is kind of resulting in this kind of, oh, there's a wall. Is our time really well invested here? And they're making sound, so now their position is well known.
236 finds the wall bang onto the first, has some slows, doesn't opt to use them yet, but now a perfect crossfire with Jace. This could be trouble for St. Thomas if they walk into this one without a flash. Let's see how they clear. They know one's close. A beautiful blind comes through. Jace gets the first.
Last player standing.
And now it's a 3v1 situation. It's only KO. Aqua takes out the first. Now makes it a 1-on-2. Can you find the 1v1s? One player on site, one player flanking. You got to be quick on this. Otherwise, the backstab's going to come through. In the end, it is the Harbor to close out the round. And it's a 7-2 lead for Lakeville.
That clutch was kind of forming there. Probably could have happened if it had been played maybe just a tiny bit slower. Utility had come out from both agents, and they were in general just in a good spot to kind of play for gunfights. Although the weaponry wasn't ideal in the right situations that could have been set up, he might have been able to pull out that advantage.
Yeah, you know, and now we're getting to a point here, Cookie, where it's desperation mode for St. Thomas, approaching this B site yet again, thinking about switching towards mid, though. A smoke for Catwalk, but look at this flank. It is the Phoenix ulti, so it will expire, but nothing seen at A main should lead to believe that it's either a mid or a B push. And look at this chamber op. Gonna hit the first. Great shot from Kratanta. Now,
well, you know,
coming out. Go for it.
It's still so interesting to me to see St. Thomas Academy still trying this, like, 5-point push on an objective. It's just not working, and it won't. If it doesn't work on a site, it's definitely not going to work on mid. And as you can see, they're kind of moving as one whole unit. Not really any flexibility for when little picks like that come out from flankers.
Yeah. Definitely the biggest difference maker right now. And now the swing from Faye, and it's Lakeville lighting up this defensive start to this game. Beautiful shots coming out from Faye on the jet.
Okay, we know the drill. Stick to
No
your
amount of
roles and
firepower
push
is
it.
going to protect you when you're moving in one big unit. A basic spray down in that situation is going to mow you down like your grass on a summer day. I just think that they really need to, if they're really putting this into desperation mode, they need to stop with this 5-man push, right? They're just trying it every single round, and it's getting predictable. They're trying the same sites, they're trying kind of the same pacing. They need to split up and try to see what works here. This 5-man push is just not. And watch as they lose this round.
Oh, what a shot from the Omen. Gonna deny Faye of that window peek. And now St. Thomas finally getting a grand start into the round. Harbor, knife out. Wonder if we had a connection issue there, but in the end, it's going to be St. Thomas to get a spike plant. And now 5v2 situation. This round should be very handedly won by St. Thomas.
I mean, definitely there you could see a change in pace, right? They picked up the pace and tried something new, which is definitely what you got to do at this point if you want to get those kinds of rounds before the half switches. But the round's definitely not over, but Disc is here in lobby to just clean that up right at the end.
Great shots coming out from the jet.
Last round before the
St. Thomas
switch.
find their third of the half, and now one final chance to either make it a 4-8 or a 9-3 game moving into the second half here. Only one round remains. It is the Jets on top of the scoreboard. You know, the usual suspect for top frag performances. the ability to find quick kills or eliminations and get out before the opponent has a say in the matter is something that she is a specialist at. Faye playing close. Here's these steps in B main. Instantly running back. Harbor with the wallbang. Odin not quite going to land. Faye not ready for the swing out, and it's Diffs to get the first of the round. The swing out not in time. The door comes down. No, they did get through. Kratanta on the other side, not taking the peek though. Waiting for the team to get in position. 3 on 5. You only have one more chance to get one more round added to the tally here. St. Thomas lose the first of the round. One player spotted close. Getting tagged up. Getting ready for the push. The blind comes through. The swing. Kraken gets the first. And now Jace adds 1, maybe 2 to the tally. It's a 1v1. 2-3-6. Can't end it. And it's St. Thomas to make it a 4-8 game.
Cortana waited for so long in that smoke that I feel like he probably lacked communication as to like the status of their push onto site. He sat there while everybody was moving in, running. It's confusing to me that he paused for so long because it should be pretty obvious that they're going to be pointing towards site, trying to dash on there, trying to just get that bomb down to try and save the round for themselves.
Yeah, no, I'm in agreement here. Now with the switch up, St. Thomas switching to defense, and it's Lakeville thinking about a fast A hit here on the attacking side of things.
Definitely predicting their switch to A site as both teams are basically completely swarmed around this A lobby area.
Now look at this. Immediate rotation from St. Thomas, not showing much patience, right? They don't see or hear anything early, so they immediately start walking away. But all 5 players just waiting here for Lakeville and now taking space. How far do these defenders walk away? One player will spot it. Fishstick sees it on the jump spot, and now they rotate back in from tree. But Jace with the lineup, he gets 3. You can't be serious. Aqua will get taken down, and it's Lakeville already in a major advantageous position. Four on 1. Kraken, the only player left, and a wall stands between them. And a defuse, and the peaks come out early, and Kraken's going to hit the deck. It's a 9-4 lead. Lakeville still commanding here on Ascent.
Really interesting movement there from the defender's side, moving as kind of a unit onto Catwalk. I definitely saw an opportunity there to maybe move even just 2 of those guys around back and kind of flip the tables 180, right? We saw that they were kind of struggling a little bit on defense there at the end. Maybe if they had flipped it around, they could try and exploit that kind of hold style that they were trying to lean into and exploit that weakness, right? But they decided to turn around and come back to site, which clearly did not work.
And now the swing from Jace. Lakeville wasting no time to keep the pressure on St. Thomas, not giving him a chance to breathe. Fishstick finds 1, makes it a 4 on 4. But in the end, it's Faye and 2-3-6. Keeping the numbers in Lakeville's favor, and now Lakeville pushing for double digits here, Cookie. Are they going to find it? It seems very likely.
Lakeville have a pretty strong hold here. Their player positioning is going to be very important for this round, as both players seem to be in heaven on this site. Playing 2 players on the same spot is definitely not going to help if they get a particular swing out after killing potentially Faye.
Galaxy Flare finds the first, can't react for the second. Now Aqua in a 1-on-3, Spike ticking away, running out of time to get back into this round. And it's almost certain that Lakeville moving to 10-4 here.
With the Spike moving into that next phase of beeping, we can tell that the bomb is about to go off. Aqua is still on site, however, trying to find a pick, dies to bomb. However, that does not count as a death on his kill total.
Yeah, going for the death just to get the money on the reset here, right? Being able to full buy in the next round. Didn't find anything on the defensive side. So now a bit of a tricky spot here for St. Thomas. You have your rifles, yes, but if you can't find success on this round, Lakeville are almost certainly going to be able to close out with the few rounds that remain between them and a victory here. So got to be careful for this Phoenix ulti here, Cookie.
Weird economies on both sides with a mix of rifles, sniper rifles, and SMGs. We're going to have to see how this plays out for later rounds. They're trying that mid push with Jet kind of watching for the flank. They're really getting their foot through the door, though.
One player in market jiggles out early, and now trying to blitz their way through Lakeville. Find a couple players close. The Molotov won't land onto Sova, and it's Kraken with the 3K with the Bulldog, and St. Thomas light up the kill feed.
St. Thomas have a uphill battle to fight now, but Kraken really pulls it together for them. They just got to start finding these rounds, and clearly they're probably on the upper end of the kind of control here with rifles on defense.
No, that was a great couple shots there found from Kraken. Hitting 3 shots in a row. I mean, with the Bulldog especially, right? Not the most ideal weapon. Definitely can get the job done here. Now setting up with this Killjoy setup towards the B site. And it's Lakeville approaching this A side of things yet again here. So will the defense be able to hold up against the Lakeville attack? Phoenix ulti is available, and it's an instant dash away from the Jet. Now pushing quickly onto the A site. The harbor wall comes through. And now it's St. Thomas again finding the frags to kick open the round. 5v3. St. Thomas, multi-man advantage. Steps going to be heard here up close in mid. Sova, when do you make your move? Multiple players moving close. Average fearing the steps back and forth. But staying tucked has Dart and 5, and now this spike moving back over towards mid to A is what the call seems to be here. We'll have to see though. Now breaching through tree position. Fishstick is on site.
Cover going
One
out.
player is behind him. Will he be ready for this? It's Jace to find one in heaven to open up. Now swinging through sight. If he finds the Omen, the site is wide open.
Control is now unlocked, but do they know about Aqua?
Nope, they do not.
One
It's
enemy
Aqua
remaining.
from the back line, gets
Spike
2, but
down
now it's
A.
Jason at 1v2. Both players are retaking from heaven, and if there's any player alive for Lakeville to come out on top of this clutch that you want, it would be Jace. A good retake dart is up. Jace goes for a tuck. Still plenty of utility to use for this Phoenix. When does he decide to use it? One player drops out, one player on heaven. He
enemy
sees the
remaining.
drop. A beautiful headshot onto the first. The flash and a blind Sova. And it's Jace with the quad kill. And it's Lakeville putting up 11.
That was tough to watch. It's confusing to me always when players in a clutch situation like that don't just step back and go, okay, you go left, I go right. We're going to play off each other's comms. When I make a push into this kind of area, I want you to be there. And those kinds of surrounding and then attacking from both sides are incredibly difficult to counter because you just can't shoot in 2 directions at once. So having them jump out of heaven at basically the same time and basically the same position really wasn't playing to their advantage there. As the timeout comes out, we have a moment to pause here. Is there anything, Skep, that you think could be done better here?
You know, St. Thomas just really needs to bear down on these early defensive starts. They're allowing a little bit of too many gaps in their defensive holds, and it leads to plays like Jace sneaking through into heaven, finding 2 kills in the back line, and then opening up that site entirely. So overall, just got to be a little bit better on this defensive hold, right? They're allowing too many slip-ups. So we'll have to see how the approach goes here. But Lakeville are only 2 rounds away from closing out and winning here and improving to 2-3 on the season. So big opportunity for Lakeville.
As we move into the round here, they're looking to try that 5-point push potentially onto B here. No word on if they're going to try mid.
Here starting over towards B. A dart in for main, and now starting to swing out. Lakeville wasting no time on some of these pushes. They like to go fast. Early shots come in the way of these defenders, but Kraken has ultimate available. Harbor Wall comes out, and now the push is underway for these attackers.
Got one.
Harbor goes down first. Galaxy Flare, not long for this one. St. Thomas, a 5-on-4 situation. They have the Sage Res available if they need it. Aqua
One
finds
enemy
one.
remaining.
Cabbage to trade, and now
Spike
Kraken
down B.
makes it a 4v1, but it's Jace in the 4v1. One flash. Throws it out, has the ultimate if he needs it. One player at Logs will take him out. And if they give Jace ones, man, this could be a very big mistake. Pops the Phoenix ulti, goes out aggressively. Doesn't find anybody early. Now swinging into backside. Takes out Killjoy. Takes out Omen. What are they looking at? Phoenix
Not
now.
where he is.
A chance for the ace.
30 seconds left.
Can you find KO? The timing not on KO's side. Swings out, but the push up goes Jace. Are you ready for it? It's Aqua to stand tall, and it's St. Thomas hanging on to this one.
Galaxy Flare kind of getting either separated or choosing to play solo there onto site was kind of a bad move in my opinion. He moves onto site in a way that he is completely alone and unprotected just for the defenders who could be on site that has not technically been completely cleared yet to clear him and just get him off the table.
Yeah, man. And now St. Thomas, right? Putting a halt to the aggression from Lakeville. The weaponry is down now. They don't have as good of an arsenal going into this one. And now a chance to make it a 7-11 game. St. Thomas starting to fight back into this one, but Lakeville's still in the driver's seat.
We're seeing a variety of pushes here on the map. I mean, if you look at mid here, that cat might result in maybe clearing tree, allowing those other attackers to kind of funnel back into mid and run through the hole that's being made by the lurker.
And now the Harbor Wall coming out onto B could be a bit of a hit underway. Kraken holding the line. Nice utility set up. And Galaxy Flare continuing to run in a little early. Not quite waiting for the team. So a bit of a disconnect there on the Lakeville side. And now Faye up middle. What a beautiful flick shot from Snippy. Dropping that now.
One enemy remaining.
Shots coming out both
Spike
ways.
Down,
it's
B.
only a 4-on-1 again. It feels like deja vu. It's Faye back in B main. Now out to Logs, doesn't get tagged yet, but
30
only
seconds
has
left.
a Spectre to the name, so not the best position to be in.
No, his teammates all gone are definitely not here to help him, and against 4 defenders, all he can really hope here is to maybe get a pick or two.
Finds a timing, gets the first, gets swung, a nice blind onto the KO,
10 seconds
makes
left.
it a 1-on-2, but Killjoy backside takes care of it. Light work for Kraken and a nice 3K coming out for the Killjoy. And now 11-7. And Lakeville's going to have weapons again. So, you know, pretty close round in terms of economy, right? If St. Thomas loses this round, they will be broke going into the next round. So they very much have to find a way to come out on top. They have a hefty ultimate advantage.
Turn out.
Yeah, some of these like separate
Placing alarm
alone
box.
plays from,
Placing
for
swarm
example, Galaxy Flare here are not helping out. But now that weaponry comes out, I wonder if those kinds of solo plays are maybe going to profit from the equal if not greater gunpowder.
And now, look at this position for Disc. Lakeville approaching heavily at a main. Jace throws the wall out. They swing out, find the first one of the round, but Disc, how long do they go unchecked? He hits the first of the round now. Drops down. Can he find the Sage? Not going to happen. Aqua with the trade. Now 2-on-3. St. Thomas only 2 up. It is Lakeville with the man advantage and an opportunity as Faye finds another. And now it's only Cabbage remaining. Lockdown destroyed. Sight is lost.
Cabbage not immediately recognizing there that they had played up into window, didn't have kind of the reaction time to be able to prevent that. We're going into kind of the final round here. They really need to pull something together here to kind of hold them off for a couple rounds if they want to have a moment to breathe. It's getting very tight out there on the game field, and you can tell by some of this kind of like nervous gameplay that we're seeing.
Yeah, the main problem here, 2 players on this defense are going to be on the
Here.
Spectre buy instead of a full rifle, whereas
You want to
everyone on
play?
Lakeville
Let's play.
having rifles. So weaponry in favor of Lakeville. Match point now. And it's a 4-1 stack. A bit of a gamble in call. And Jace with the walk up mid. Going to have perfect timing on this and going to go unchecked. This could be problematic, and this could be the entire round right here.
It seems as though they're playing around a guy in spawn,
not
which
ready for it.
they collect.
Not ready for it. Jace, at some point, you got to get checked. Not ready for that close corner. And now, Killjoy, the lone B defender, having this setup here, though, has been good for them in the past. Killjoy utility goes down. And it's Lakeville flooding onto the B site slowly but surely. Killjoy, how many can you find? Kraken, the first is good. The dash into backside. Kraken finds the swing, and the shots are good. And it's St. Thomas putting up the wall of defense for now. But it now 3-on-2.
You
Make it a
will not
2-on-2.
kill my ally.
Lakeville,
30 seconds left.
and they
One
find
enemy
it
remaining.
here.
Last
Rez
player
comes
standing.
down. Now a
Spike
1v1.
down B.
Chamber, if you find this shot, you find the game. 20 seconds remain.
All set up.
And now, pushing back for Spike. Cookie, who's going to find it?
I have
Well,
the spike.
Chambers in a good spot here with his ultimate,
10
right?
seconds left.
He has complete control over both entryways with his operator, and Bomb is on site and now down. He
I'm
just
too
needs to
far.
control both pathways and be smart about what side he's going to come from.
Yeah, now the back and forth, the 50-50, if you will. Sova, the debate here. You
Revealing
have
area.
Dart to play off of. Does it land in back sight? Not quite. So Chamber going to be aware. Not peeking, but now we'll hear the sounds cue. Cabbage drops. Chamber gets tagged up. Goes for the swing. Can you buy time? No! It is St. Thomas that come out clutch.
Unlucky timing there with the switch insides, right? As the
A
dart
little
comes out,
recognition
the
is nice
slow
now
move
and
to
then.
the stairs,
Thank
I
you.
guess, was kind of trying to predict getting caught out going for the opposite side, but in the end, it was what it seemed, and Cabbage was pushing onto Cat. I think in general there, the Vandal gameplay after the drop onto the site could have been a little cleaner on the side of the Chamber, but overall, they're still at match point, and one good round here is going to tie it all together.
Yeah, Chambers gotta be peeking back and forth there, giving yourself at least a bit of a chance in that one. Not really peeking until it was a bit too late, and now St.
Get out of
Thomas
my way.
finding another leg at life in this one. Faye
Joke's
approaching,
over.
aiming
You're
quickly.
dead.
Both updrafts used. Phoenix coming out quick. It's another classic Lakeville fast hit, but guess what? St. Thomas are starting to read this bare bones, straightforward aggression. Lakeville not showing any deviations or differences in their game plan, and it's starting to bite them.
Look at this large rotate to the other site. Who knows if they'll all rotate in time. Killjoy does have a good lockdown on Cat, so that move onto site is definitely going to probably be slower than if there was none there. Killjoy doing a good job, though, of holding site if she doesn't get noticed.
Only B defender here yet again. Killjoy, one player already close behind. How many can you find? Kraken not ready for it this time. And with that rotate coming out for Lakeville, they find a wide open site. And Jace might clean it up right here, right now. It's a 4-on-2 situation. 2-man advantage for Lakeville.
Interesting situation here with
players are
the
low,
Blade
too.
Storm out. Both players are low. They've
Last
got
player
a
standing.
situation they got to play out. But
That's it. That is it. It is
Attackers
done
win.
and dusted. In the end, it does not
I
matter.
suggest you
It is
move.
Lakeville that continue to dominate, and it's a very first W coming out for Harbor here on the MNVL broadcast. Epiphany, welcome back to the desk. I mean, what did you like out of that game so far? Let's start with the Lakeville perspective, the victors.
Yeah, so coming out of Lakeville, of course, they got that big pistol round again that we were talking about. They were able to secure that massive for them to get the economy going in their favor, continue with that initial 1-0 lead, of course. And then when it comes to Lakeville in general, of course, they take away the game in a way that I see as decently dominant towards the beginning, a little bit of tread towards the end a bit, though. You start to see St. Thomas kind of adapt to things. But what I notice is great gameplay coming out of Lakeville. Overall, I just feel like St. Thomas also, though, putting themselves in some poor positions that Lakeville are profiting off of, 1v3s, things like that. And, you know, Lakeville just consistently breaks down St. Thomas in those potential clutch situations, like that 1v2, I believe it was, coming out of Jace. I
Yeah.
think those are the big things we got to consider here when it comes to Lakeville, is that clutch factor. They have the ice, you know?
Yeah, clutch factor heavily in favor of Lakeville in that one. You know, at the end, St. Thomas doing what they could, but it was not enough. Cookie, any final thoughts for that first game of the evening?
I think I have honestly a question for Piff. Piff, what do you think about that Harbor gameplay? Do you think it's a good indicator for how he'll do throughout the rest of this season? Do you think other teams are going to pick him up?
You know, I think it might be a little bit too early to say. I'm not quite sure. I think Harbor, I mean, it was okay, right? You know, it wasn't like a catastrophic Harbor encounter that we saw, but it wasn't like, oh wow, all eyes on Harbor, check out what Harbor's doing. It was kind of one of those situations, I feel like, where you know, good character possibly could be used later on. You might want to see teams start to experiment with it more, but I don't know if he's like meta yet, you know.
The one thing I'll say
Totally.
about it is Harbor is meant to be one of those. He's like a newer hybrid, you know, controller type initiator. He's a very aggressive controller, and he bodes very well for that Lakeville game plan. Right? It was a straightforward attack almost at all times. It seems that wave pushing forward allows that barrier, and I mean, overall, Lakeville made it happen. Before we cut to break, I want to give one more shout out to VERSION1, guys, our primary sponsor of the evening. All of our players at Mnvl do not have to pay registration fees, and they play for free thanks to VERSION1. And on that note, I want to talk a little bit about some of the initiatives that VERSION1 have going on right now. So, Vibe Squad, one of the big early kind of esports footings, right? To get your foot in the door, get activated, get around the scene, get involved with local events, whether it's watch parties, whether it's events that VERSION1 is putting on themselves. It's just a great opportunity, and it's really a vibe. Epiphany, anything to add to that?
I mean, all kinds of events. You were touching on events. If you didn't hear me say before, the home series that's going to be coming up for Call of Duty for Rocker. They've got the whole Florida Mutineers, LAG, Boston, London, all coming here to Minnesota to play qualifier matches live on LAN. I'm definitely going to be going to both of those. That'll be a blast. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure. Folks, we are going to go to a very short break. When we come back, we have a banger of a matchup in the wings. It's Shakopee in Minnetonka, man. Some heavy hitters in the league. So stay tuned for more Valorant Wednesday action coming up after the break. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to week 5 Wednesday Valorant action. We just had an exciting game 1 between St. Thomas and Lakeville North on Ascent. It went a little bit of a distance, you could say, but overall, not too far as Lakeville North found the victory and improved to 2-3. You know, Cookie, we were just casting that one. Well, what did you like out of that Lakeville North attack on Ascent?
Well, in general, Lakeville North did a good job adapting, finding things to really get out of plays. They really profited on things that they probably shouldn't have, and just did a good job finding those holes to break through in and getting those rounds in. And in general, Skep or Epiphany, whoever wants to, what did you like about the defense?
Epiphany, you want to take it?
Sure, yeah. What I really liked about the defense, at least from the side of the Lakewood, is they did a really good job of making sure to keep that back line. Whenever you had somebody pushing in towards the middle of the map, towards the middle of the map, towards the left side of the map, towards the right side, either side, whatever it might have been, I really noticed that they were doing a good job of keeping sure that they were blocking all rotations. I noticed that as some of these players would maybe start to move towards that A site, towards that B site, that there was really good communication happening there. They made sure to read any of that rotation happening, and I'd say that was a really well done part of that defense.
Yeah, no, I'm in agreement. You know, I think it was great play on both attack and defense. Lakeville adapted accordingly and overall showed a very dominant game plan. But now, speaking of dominant, we have two of the heavy hitters stepping on to the maps for game number 2, Minnetonka and Shakopee. And I mean, you know, I'm excited to see this one. Epiphany, you're going to be hopping on
Yeah.
for the cast for this one. I mean, what are you looking for in a 4-0 Minnetonka squad that is considered to be top 3, if not top 2 teams in the league right now?
For sure, yeah. I mean, like I compare Lakeville and I compare Minnetonka, and what I notice is a key difference coming in just the defensive offensive speed, the capabilities on a defense when it comes to communication, managing the map. These are the things I notice. Minnetonka, you'll notice as they play here that they have that difference shown very deliberately. The speed on the offense, as I said, is one thing to look at. They hit those sites and they hit them fast. And when they make a decision, they know what decision they need to make. They know when they need to rotate. These are the things I'm looking for in Minnetonka. Shakopee, last time we watched them, I believe they had a very close game. So what I'm looking for them to do if they're playing against Minnetonka is to try to widen that gap. But with how strong Minnetonka is, I think it's going to be close either way.
Yeah. I mean, this is definitely a matchup that can go either way. I will say, for Shakopee's sake, I'm not sure what map we're going to yet or who's starting where, but Shakopee rank-wise is going to be a little bit under the level of play that Minnetonka is going to be at. Minnetonka has medaled, if not once, maybe twice so far through Valorant. Once for sure, maybe not the second time, but they might have gotten back-to-back third place, I think, so far. So a very strong team in their own right, and we just got word that we are heading to the newest map. It is Pearl. We got Harbor tonight. We're getting Pearl tonight. It feels like all the boxes are getting checked, and the Mnvl Valorant games are delivering. I mean, my final question here before we get ready for any kind of agent select, I mean, you know, Epiphany, let's start with you. What are you looking for agent-wise to see on this new map of Pearl?
You know, what I am looking for, I'd say, is I'm looking for some of those jets. I kind of want to see some of that initiation happen over towards some of those sites. What I've noticed is when I've seen some of the scrims that I've watched, those jets can actually be more useful than you might think, and I really like watching some of that. Again, as we're already seeing up here, you can see that fade. I think fade will be definitely a very interesting factor as well as neon. You know, there's some large open parts of that map that you can really use that speed for. I think that's another thing, is you can also cut off some of those angles, and I think overall fade's a great character, as well as neon, of course, and I think that they will be very useful on a map like this.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the character compositions here on both teams, I think I'm a little confused by the Astra choice. I mean, in general, looking through the history of recent patches, Astra has not been really a contender for the #1 controller, right? She does a really good job of getting those smokes down in tight spaces, which is really what Pearl is all about. However, I do think characters such as Brimstone or Omen could probably do an equal, if not better, job with, for example, Brimstone's Molotov, blocking off those tight hallways with real damage to do to real enemy players. I think it's just, in general, not the best choice, but we'll have to see how they make it work in this game with it being a mirror matchup of Astra's.
Yeah, Astra's definitely an interesting choice for sure, and you know, I think the Nebula can be super useful, but another thing to kind of look at too is that, as you said, there are better alternatives. Astra's kind of one of those picks that you go for if you're trying to do something different, if you're trying to change it up a little bit, but I don't really look at Astra as one of those meta characters, one of those meta agents that you just go ahead and choose for the team composition, but regardless, we'll see how things work out. I do like the chamber pick for both sides, of course, definitely very meta, good to have around, as well as the Sage too. I think that healing capability will really come in handy for Shaka-P here, but regardless, Minnetonka, they've got that Astra pick locked in, as well as Shaka-P. We'll see how things go, as initially it's going to be some of that information gathering here for the Shaka-P squad as they push on over towards this site. It's going to be a quick B push coming through here from the side of Shaka-P as they try to get things started off here. It's going to end up being KO with the flash out. Kashi getting that plant down. Shots in from Schmoogler. No dice just yet for him, as it is going to be a lot of these Shaka-P players starting to fall here soon if they're not careful. However, they do open things up with one.
This is a really scary play here by Neon as they try to throw things in. Generally, as we look at the utility here, I don't think they're doing a good enough job of getting that utility kind of out to play around these attackers, right? They're just kind of peeking with their guns and hoping that they can outgun, while in this game, you really got to play with your utility, right? You really got to make it work.
Yeah, you really do got to make it work. I mean, the utility can be super useful for opening up some of those sites. Again, like that B site can be pretty wide open, and what I notice is that if you are using that utility, you are able to open up that site, you can gather some of that information, like I was saying, with your initiator, whatever it may be. I think that can be super useful in order to make those sites more in your favor, especially if you're, you know, the side of Shaka-P attacking, making sure you know where those defenders might be lurking.
Yeah, as we're gonna see the same site come out, I'm interested to see how Chamber plans on kind of playing this differently as he gets a pick right at the start. I think it's, in general, a good move to try and get that pick at the start, trying to disencourage this kind of move towards B site as aggressively as it was last round, although that doesn't seem to be very effective.
Yeah, for sure. Mr. Kashi going to get that plant down. It's going to be man advantage here for Minnetonka. That Sage Wall is up, though. You got to watch out for that barrier. Shaka-P, though, an initial 2. Nora to trade things out. Jumbo, give him 1 as well. It's a 2 versus 2 right now on the board, and well, as that spike is planted, Minnetonka going to have to get that defuse in time here. Here comes Chamber to be the first one down into the ground, and Tally with the trade, but silly Salamander able to finish things off in the end to be the last man standing here on Pearl in that round. Going to be 2-0 Shaka-P, and I gotta say, Cookie, this is kind of a surprising start to this game.
Yeah, seeing Shaka-P come out on top here is a really interesting outcome. I mean, Salamander really proving their overall gun control and game mechanic. Really bold move to go for Vandal on second round. It's almost as if they're betting on the fact that they were to win that round, but I guess having faith in the Salamander is really just gonna bring them luck here. So by bringing in the Vandal, they were just able to get those kinds of picks that you couldn't with any other gun, and that round came out for them anyway.
For sure. Well, it seems like right now Shaka-P trying to move their way towards one of these sites. However, they are splitting the map a little bit. You can see that they're not quite all in the same spot right now. We'll see what that ends up becoming, but you can see that most of these players moving over towards that A site, cutting off some of those initial angles. It's going to end up being number 1 there, the Neon for Minnetonka, just waiting. Number 3, obviously ready to make a route when needed. But it is going to be Nora here, ready to go. We'll see how he tries to kick things off. We'll see how he tries to open things up. Sage Wall out here for Shaka-P now as they get things moving over towards that A site a little bit more quicker. You can see the dots start to move faster on the minimap. Well, it's all going to be about that initial first blood here. Nora just waiting. Shaka-P, though, they've entered the site. They're getting that plant down. Nora through the wall, though. My goodness, for 2. What a start to an engagement on that site. Shakapi, though, now the numbers not in their favor.
Nora
30
taking
seconds
advantage
left.
of what was clearly an information advantage. Even though the enemy
remaining.
planter might not have been noticed, I still think that the communication there just called it out. Like, listen, they're probably on default, spray through the wall. And then just being able to pick up 2 there is very, very valuable. And something else I did notice was that Shakapi did leave
10
that
seconds
spike
left.
kind of in spawn there as they were trying to pick where they were going to go. Interesting kind of plays there, because that kind of leaves spike not locked anywhere specifically if, for example, a defender were to push up as someone's pushing in.
I mean, it kind of means they were playing that information game a little bit. You know, they wanted to sit back and wait for some of those Minnetonka players to maybe make a dumb move and then, you know, make a move based off of that, possibly find an initial kill to get things kicked off in the round, but no dice for them that time around as they go in and then just get absolutely slaughtered. I mean, Nora with those 2 kills is unbelievable to start the round off there. Now Minnetonka.
Interesting to see Nora coming into this round with light shield. As kind of their main duelist, I would have expected them to probably have fought for Nora so that they could afford their heavy shield kind of to carry their team through the duelist, but we'll have to see how that turns out.
Love to see how that turns out. Indeed, we'll see how this B push turns out as well. Shakapi moving their way quickly over towards the site. Nora trying to be that first defender with the neon again. Salamander, though, able to find that first one for Reyna. Here comes Salamander for yet another couple. That's how you kick things off. And, well, 5v2 is the man advantage for Shakapi right now. As
Spike
Cali,
down,
the trades
B.
go down, and it seems like Shakapi have just no way of stopping on that push. They knew exactly what they wanted to do in that round.
To give life.
Salamander there played very cleanly. They just kept their mechanics down. Once they knew they had their crosshair basically on head level by just tapping a guy, they just could keep it there and bet on the guys just trying to swing the same angle, which in itself is not the smartest move in the world, without kind of trying to throw some utility at it, maybe pull them out or push them back. But yeah, they just kept it clean and played angles that were just being checked, and it was just overall a good round.
Overall, a good round indeed, as now we kick off into the next one. 3-1 Shakapi, folks. Nora trying to get some of these initial shots off. No dice just yet, though. As we'll see if Minnetonka decide to possibly reroute towards one of the angles that Shakapi is pushing through. As Salamander now also pushing up this site. An initial first blood here to kick things off. Instant trade, though, by the Marshal from Nora. And it seems like maybe the dots will start to move a bit quicker here.
It's interesting to see this kind of slow B, slow A, although it's quite confusing as to why the group on A with Spike would kind of play a little faster than those on B. Generally, you'd want to have B kind of call out that they are there, get some defenders to rotate, and then the A squad with bomb could then get sight here. But it looks like they're just going to try and take advantage of what's on B right now.
Looks like they're going to try to take advantage of that indeed. And, well, to start things off, you're going to have to get a few more kills. The presence from Minnetonka is still here. Schmoogler shots in. No dice for him. It's going to end up being Mr. Kashi with the plant. We'll see if it's going to end up being enough, though, as Minnetonka, the numbers start to dwindle. Line them up, knock them down, Shakapi. That is how you make a round yours.
If you've never
4-1
seen a
right now.
massacre, this is
Well,
what
you
it
know,
looks like.
Silly's winning these gunfights, right? When they take them, they get them. If the Salamander wants, it gets. And at this point, I think they need to start playing as a group and kind of play off each other. That Salamander kind of needs to be taken down as a group before they can start focusing on everybody else.
Yeah, I feel like the catalyst of events here has been usually Shakapi. They start to play things slow, and then boom, like I said, hits a catalyst. They start to get some of those initial kills, and things start to crumble for Minnetonka relatively quickly. So Shakapi looking good right now as Fantenex trying to do whatever he can towards the middle of the map. Nothing for him just yet, but Mr. Kashi, he's able to find one, make the man advantage in his favor. It is going to be a 5 versus 4. Make that 3 on the map right now as Jamamu able to get another one knocked down. 1 minute left on the clock right now for Shakapi to work with. They try to get pushed through the middle of the map here. This is different, right? They're doing something different here on the map, and they're making sure that Minnetonka have to keep on their toes, keep their brain active about where they may be pushing. Choco Mint having to back up, but he can't take all three. Shakapi continuing to find the kills.
Again, we're seeing that gameplay with the Spike and Spawn. Astra backed out there of mid to go grab Spike. It really plays into really nicely how mid chooses a site, right? If the one player plays out and grabs Spike, it gives them a lot of flexibility on to which site they want to go to. Obviously, they are separated, but if they know that mid is crowded with defenders that can and have been cleared or checked, it's a very safe move for the Spike to get around.
Well, it seems like right now in a 2 versus 2 situation, it's going to be up to Schmoogler to get that defuse. He could get it right here. Shakapi, you gotta find your way in, but you can't. Nora able to take down both of them, and well, that's the bomb defuse going away there very, very quickly. And Minnetonka, they're able to get another one on the board to try to keep this one competitive. And you know, this is what I was saying, is Neon is so useful on this map. I feel like there's so many uses for her, and I think she just proves useful so many times around. And right there, you can see it with the ult, able to get 2 of them to close out that round and to help the defuse. Great protection, great teamwork, all around good work there from Minnetonka in that round.
I mean, generally, Neon with her ult is a very dangerous opponent, right? She can just run in there, point a finger, bang, like a finger gun, just immediately down with that headshot multiplier of nearly 3 times. The damage coming out of that can be really dangerous if you have a headlock that is really consistent.
Feeling sight.
Incredibly dangerous indeed. And well, now as we kick things off towards the next push here, it's going to be Shakapi trying to move their way over towards this A site, but Astra trying to maybe make things a bit more difficult here for Minnetonka to come back and take whoever might be planning this bomb out. It's going to be down now, though, eventually. Shakapi able to get control of this site, but it is a battle right now. Abilities going out. It's going to end up being Nora to find the first one here on the site for Minnetonka. And well, Shakapi, the numbers are starting to fall. Next for another one. And it seems like right now the defuse might start to come through. Shakapi, you gotta keep your eyes on the bomb. Jumbo for another one as well. Shakapi, the numbers are starting to drop. Give Jumbo another one. Choco Mint on the bomb. Defuse it. You can't check it in time. Shakapi crumble on this side.
Charge and shoot. Easy enough.
Yeah, that was... It was tough to watch for Shakapi, right? Minnetonka finally kind of like putting it into gear here, putting it into drive, and kind of pushing the envelope now on what they want to happen here, and they're tying it together, right? So as these rounds come together and economies kind of level out, we're going to have to see here who still stays on top, because right now it's looking like a really even game.
Looking even indeed, and well, Minnetonka, they're starting to adapt. They needed that wake-up call, and it seems like they are hearing things loud and clear about what Shakapi are doing, and they're starting to adapt to the play style. As right now you can see Shakapi kind of setting this one up towards the middle of the map. They had some success with that before. We'll see how it goes for them this time. Schmoogler identifies a few players, shots in. Nothing for him just yet, though. He's going to have to back off for now. As Minnetonka, they start to scramble a little bit to figure out where these players might be headed. Shakapi, it seems like their destination might be unknown a little bit right now, too. Possibly directing themselves over towards that A site. Schmoogler, though, he's got the cutoff angle here. He can find something, but Shakapi in a little bit of a deadlock right now.
Yeah, they were definitely trying to plan on maybe getting a pick in there, but they just couldn't find it. And now they're just kind of falling as they're just sitting ducks, right? They need to make that move on the site to not be kind of in the same spot forever. If they stay there forever, they're just going to surround and get those picks, and the round is over. So they got to start moving quickly here with 40 seconds on the clock.
Yep, you got to start moving quickly indeed, and Shakapi, the numbers have dwindled as well. Not much to work with. You find one if you're Clemson tied, and well, Minnetonka, they start to get the numbers present on the site as well. It's going to end up being Nora to find another one with the Neon. It's going to be another one for Next as well. The Vandal proving useful, and Clemson tied for 1, but nothing that is enough for him and the rest of the Shakapi team. Minnetonka, they tie things up 4-4.
That prevented kind of like clutch scenario there, I think, is mainly down to the fact that they were playing together, right? If they're playing basically right next to each other, the attacker needs to choose between either or defender, right? So when they make that decision, they're left with still one guy on the field, and it's very unlikely that they're going to collect both. So if they're just playing off each other's backs, they basically get that pick for just 1 life. And if that ends the round, that's a pretty profitable win.
For sure, and well, right now it seems like Minnetonka,
Cutting their
again with the presence on B, nothing towards A, so they're going to start to rotate here soon. Shakapi moving this one out quick. That wall is going to prove useful. Reyna trying to find a few if she can. Nothing yet, but there's one. Maybe the second one. Oh, no!
Oh my.
You gotta
One
switch
enemy
to your
remaining.
pistol, but you don't
Spike
have enough
down,
time.
B.
30 now for Next on the health points, and he might get taken down pretty soon here, but even if he does, still only the Astra left up for Shakapi, and they got cut down on that push. Cookie, what caused them to just crumble right there?
I don't know. A lot of the time, you know, it's kind of just down to the player, right?
Yep.
I mean, you win some, you lose some, and you take them as they come. It's definitely kind of down to pacing in general, right? If you're going to sit there and just kind of spray, maybe slowing it down, maybe taking a moment, taking a breather, readjusting where that crosshair sits, and just going for that shot, I think could have probably prevented what happened there. Really interesting that went down here. These two juggernauts are really playing it, bringing it down to the wire.
We'll see if Chamber can find one right here. Well, yeah, at least take something down, but maybe not the next one. It's going to be Jamamu finding that opening kill right there.
Gotta go.
Get a 5-4 right now. Shakapi trying to push into the site. Nora been such a key player for this Minnetonka squad. We'll see
Spike
if Nora can
planted.
find any more. It's going to be that spike planted now.
There.
As Shakapi, they try to keep the numbers up. 4-3 right now as Nora pushes in. Able to find one. Is that enough just yet, though? Not quite. You gotta find the rest of the players on the site and get that defusal off. But Choco Men able to help out. Here comes Nora blocking off the angles, trying to find the way forward towards another one of these players. It's going to be the defuse on. Nora, you're just watching over your team, and at this
enemy
point,
remaining.
another one to lock down, and that is great teamwork right there. out of
Last
Minnetonka.
player standing.
Honestly beautiful. You don't see this very often in Mnvl. Nora really stepping into that position of, okay, I'm the duelist, I got the attacking kit, you're Astra, sit the bomb, I'm gonna take care of you. And of
1
course,
second,
as a
peeps.
duelist, you're
I
gonna
gotta
want to play
visit the
aggressively
Astra
on
to
that.
play
And I
some
think Nora just
stars.
did an excellent job of really imposing themselves on the enemy team and making sure they just could not get to choke them in there as they defused.
For sure, yeah. I mean, that's just, any kind of teamwork that you want if you're Shakapi is right there. Or rather, if you're Minnetonka. You want to make sure that you have your teammates watching over any kind of defusal like that. You want to make sure your teammates are watching your angles. It's that kind of key communication that leads to all of that that is so
Bring them
important.
down.
And well, now Phantom X trying to kick things off here in this next round. Nothing for him just yet, though, but possible information about where these Shakapi players might be. Here comes the Chow, though. Schmoogler able to find one. Jamamu with the trade, but Chocoman able to equate the battlefield in his
Spike is
favor.
down.
As Nora able to
Spike
find
down
another one
mid.
for himself, and Minnetonka, they have started to dwindle the numbers real quick, and they've started to pilot this game in their direction real quick
player
as well.
standing.
Kashi taken down, and well, now it is only the Chamber left up, taken down
I'm
as
out
well.
of here.
Salamander really trying to kind of break through, get a couple more
Last
picks
round
that
in
are
the
really
half.
critical here in the round, but in general, I think Minnetonka are doing just an amazing job at really holding down these areas of real importance, getting those bombs down, holding them in a clever way that really cannot be predicted too well, or in a way that countering it would be difficult, if not near impossible. So coming through here, it's going to be interesting to see how this kind of dynamic plays into the half switch, right? Is this going to be kind of defender-sided? Is Shakapi really going to find the kind of same success while they're defending? Who knows? We'll have to see.
We'll have to see indeed as well. Now Shock trying to kick things
gonna
off
go
maybe
try
towards
and
this A site, towards the middle of the map as well, trying to cause a little bit of action. Here comes the flurry of players in order to try to take down the initial player. Schmoogler gonna hit the ground first for the Minnetonka squad, and
Let's
maybe
play.
another one as well. Silly Salamander trying to find the next. It's gonna end up being Minnetonka dropping like flies right now as Jamamu for another one. Fantex able to try to keep things in his favor though, but so far so good for Shakapi on the push. Fantex though, always able to make things.
I mean, look at this gameplay here. Silly Salamander really superimposed themselves on the defenders. Really just wanted to, hey, I'm here, and I'm not going to leave you alone. I'm going to
Last
make
player
sure you're
standing.
down here, and I'm going to take your
One
soul.
enemy remaining.
I mean, really playing into that kind of Reyna playstyle, and it's really working.
Yeah, and you know,
Switching
the thing I'm
sides.
noticing as well is that the trades are really back and forth, I feel like, but the moment that that one key player steps up, they get a 2-piece, they maybe even lock down 3, that is where you kind of see where the round goes from there. If a Shakopee player starts to get a few key kills and then they get 2 in a row, the trade system goes in their favor, they change the direction of the trades. I think that really is what favors either of the teams. I noticed Shakopee doing that quite a bit, Minnetonka as well. Fantenex definitely was able to find a few there, but of course Shakopee able to refute against that. So obviously deviations from that trend, but yeah, I'm just noticing that usually those players that are getting those 2 pieces end up making their team
Careful
a lot
there.
more favored to win the round. But regardless, now it's time for Minnetonka.
Wall raised.
Of course, on the offense now, trying to kick things off over towards possibly that B site as they are rotating back. It's going to end up being Shakopee, just waiting right now for any of these players.
Shakopee really has a difficult job here. He's got to really find that pick to make sure this site stays down, and if he doesn't, it's kind of a failed hold, right? And he just needs to make sure that they know he's here.
Need to make sure he knows, and well, definitely Minnetonka going
enemy
to
remaining.
be known to hit the ground very commonly over
Spike
towards that
planted.
B site. Well, it happens again. Shakopee making sure, or rather Minnetonka was able to find the kills there. Shakopee getting taken down, and now it is only the Astra up. The switch has occurred, and it seems like Clemson Tide trying to make things go in his favor, but you gotta be real icy if you're trying to win this one. Here comes the smokes possibly to try to get things to move in his favor, but nothing for him just yet. Spike
Clemson
is
here
down
is
as well.
definitely on the hunt.
Oh,
Taking
yeah.
that back.
Clemson's just kind of trying to find those picks for the economy,
Yep.
but it
and-
doesn't work out.
Yeah, it doesn't work out. And, you know, here's the thing, too, is Clemson, like, when you're left in that kind of situation, there's not a whole lot that you can do, right? You can try to get your smokes down, you can try to take down a few players, but when you're a team like Minnetonka and you're so good at playing in that site, and you know how to keep your numbers up, you know how to fortify that site, things really do go in your favor, and it gets really difficult to break that if you are the side of Clemson Tide. And well, now Minnetonka, of course, on the offense this time around.
We're
Trying
seeing
to
a few
make
Guardians come out from Minnetonka here. I think that, in general, that's a bet on the idea that they're going to outgun this, and same with Salamander. He's pulling out the Sheriff while the rest of his team's still on Classics. It's just a fight for picks here.
Just a fight for picks indeed, and well, we'll see who's able to open things up first. Minnetonka making their way into the site. Here comes the initial information. They know the Shakopee is there. Callie, she's going to get taken down, and well, Minnetonka trying to keep their head on a swivel for any rotating Shakopee player on the mini-map, but it is going to be them pushing into the site fast regardless. It is going to be #1 lurching in the back. Working in the back now, making their way forward. Schmoogler able to find one as well, and now it's a 4
Last
versus
player
2.
standing.
Minnetonka with the numbers. Choco Mint able to get that
Spike
bomb planted, and well, it's going to end up being Reyna, the last man up. And again, this is what we see, right, Cookie? It is these situations where Shakopee get put in a spot where they just don't have really the ability to clutch up. I mean, it gets so hard in the 1 versus 4 on the site. Spike down. You just got to get those trades to go in your favor, but Minnetonka, they consistently find multiple in the kill feed, making it just not that way.
In a situation like that, right at the end of the play, it's really important not to want to push in. If Silly Salamander, for example, got his hand on a Guardian there, things could have very quickly have fallen apart. With that superior weaponry, he could have just found a few automatically with his clearly, like, really good game mechanics. I think that also Shakopee aren't doing an amazing job at commanding the respect they deserve on their sites. They're kind of backing off a little bit too much, lending them to just giving the site to to Minnetonka, sorry. It's just not working out.
Yeah, I mean, the thing too is, right, if Minnetonka have that aggression, Shakopee, you gotta match it. You gotta find those kills, and well, talk about the gunfight. Silly Salamander are gonna get taken down by Jumbo as well. And now it's going to be a 5 versus 3. Minnetonka, man advantage, moving their way quickly over towards that A site here on Pearl. And, well, Shakopee trying to get that rotation in, but neither of the players
Spike
are
planted.
there and ready to go. Callie, she's trying to find her way around. But again, this is another situation, Cookie, where you have that spike down, you have the man advantage, and Shakapi, you are just having trouble finding your way in, especially when that site is fortified with Minnetonka players.
I mean, if we look at their kind of positioning here, Cali definitely waited for the chamber to follow them, but I think that
Last
if
player
you noticed
standing.
how far they were playing off site there, when in reality, the site control was on even footing. 2 were off site, 2 were on site, and similar to what I just kind of elaborated on, they're just not like getting their foot down and holding it there. They're putting their foot down, but then at like the mere sight of utility, maybe backing out a little too much and surrendering the site basically.
Right, and you know, another thing that I look at too is when you see Shakapi on some of these defenses, right, they're not, again, like you mentioned it before, they're not super firm on that defense. They're not making sure to push out some of those mid angles, maybe hit a route on somebody, whereas I remember one of our previous rounds, we saw Schmoogler kind of hit the middle on some of those pushes that Shakapi was doing at that time when they were on offense, making sure to push things up a little bit further. And you can see right here Silly Salamander trying to do that. Maybe this is the change that they needed if he's able to win the gunfight. Not quite. Jumbo able to take him down and, well, give him another one to stack on top of it. And Cookie, plain and simple, when you're just not winning the gunfights, the map will not be opening up in your favor. And it seems like Minnetonka, everything opened up for them as they find their way onto the B site here. Spike to get planted here soon likely, and Shakapi, they continue to drop. One for Kaylee, but still, nothing much for them.
Ironically,
Spike
as
planted.
ironic as this is gonna sound, when you're losing these kinds of gunfights, at some point you kind of just gotta start playing a little dirty, you know? Maybe at some point we're gonna see that judge come out or some kind of shorty. I think in general they just need to start doing those kind of out there plays to try and stop these super pushes that are happening. And look at these peaks on Mumble, right? They're just kind of jiggle peeking it. You don't necessarily need to be jiggle peeking all these angles to keep a foot on site, and I think that's generally where they're slipping up.
Yeah, I think if you just want to keep that presence and you want to play your life, I think that's a really important thing. Some of these lives getting thrown away, we know how big First Bloods can be, and I think that that is definitely a telling thing for Minnetonka is that they're consistently getting them. And Shakapi, you got to find a way to start getting some of those opening kills, otherwise things may start to really not look good for you, as they already kind of have started to look that way. 11-5 right now in the scoreline. Minnetonka trying to close this one out here as soon as possible, as now Jumbo pushing forward towards the middle. We'll see if Shakapi can open things up with a kill this time around. Sage lying in wait right now. We'll see if she's able to find anything.
At this point, the wall has been called out to the rest of the team, and they're kind of trying to play around this interestingly. Mumbo Jumbo going for the jump there to try and get the teleport over. Really interesting idea for a way to get around that Sage wall, but the defender is just sitting there waiting for someone to try and break through.
Well, now it's going to end up being a 5 versus 4 Shakapi man advantage as they try to save this game. Nora shooting at that astral smoke, blocking off some of those key angles, of course. And, well, now you can see on your mini-map that the rotation from Minnetonka is moving back on over towards that B site. Initial engagements go in the favor of Choco Mint, as now the smokes go down, trying to block off some of those angles and can try to get a plant going. You got to move quick here, though, if you're Shakapi, before the rest of Minnetonka gets there. And, well, it seems like right now they already have, Minnetonka have found their way into the site. They're getting that spike planted, and Shakapi, they're already in that rotation, and Minnetonka, they've just kind of backed up right now. Shakapi looking to, like, get close to that site locked in, I feel like, but still Minnetonka, good presence, but they start to drop a bit. Shakapi trying to keep their numbers up, but Minnetonka starting to get some of those kills locked in as well.
I mean, if we look at what Shakapi how they were playing, they were not ready for that. 3 players, like, basically frantically began rotating as all that utility began coming down on top of them. I think there was definitely earlier onsets of information that would suggest that they were moving B-site, but clearly they did not pick up on that.
I mean, if I'm going to be honest with you, Cookie, I'm surprised that one worked out for Minnetonka a little bit. I mean, they did get
Match
that great
point.
fast push going in, and I said, you know, they were starting to back up. And Shakapi, they started to rotate quickly is another thing I pointed out, and they started to get those kills. They started to find those gunfights that they need to. In Minnetonka, they started to kind of go down on the minimap a little bit, back up from that site, which gave Shakapi a bit of the room to get said kills. But in the end, of course, Minnetonka, they were able to play their life in that 1 versus 1 and
There.
make sure to take that round away. And, well, now match point here for Minnetonka.
I mean, last round, you'd love to see that one play where Shakapi are kind of beginning to play as a unit and kind of just started picking up those kills. And similar to this round, they're trying very similarly to their kind of group killings now.
Yep, and well, Chocolate trying to already get that bomb planted, and oh my goodness, you blink your eyes and you'll miss it. Minnetonka just run the victory lap on that final game right there. Unbelievable stuff out of them. My God, Skep, what is your analysis of that one, man? I mean, that was a crazy matchup.
Yeah, man. You know, I was expecting a pretty back and forth matchup for game 2. I originally was thinking that it was going to be Minnetonka favored. This is a team that's been near the top for both of our Valorant seasons so far, and they came out and they showed it tonight. The reasons why, I mean, their synergy is on point. The coordination of ability usage, swinging out together. I mean, this is a very solid team here. For any game for Mnvl standard, right? These guys have it, and they showed it tonight against Shakapi. It was a close set, though.
For sure. Very, very close set indeed. And, you know, what we started to see is Minnetonka, they started to kind of gain their footing a bit after the beginning. At the beginning, it was a little bit closer. Shakapi started to get some of those initial rounds, and then Minnetonka kind of snapped into it. They got into action, and then they really picked it up from there. But, Cookie, I want to hear what your thoughts are around that one, because obviously, as Skep just said, definitely a very, very good match. And I'm curious kind of what were you seeing about utility, things like that, whatever it may be.
I mean, it was very noticeable at the start that there was a little bit of a warm-up period for Minnetonka. They were trying to get things in gear, trying to really start to accelerate, right, into these kind of blowout sequences where they just get round after round after round before being potentially stopped once or twice. I'm interested to hear from you, Skep. Why do you think that was happening? Was there anything in particular that Minnetonka were doing in the early game that would have prevented them from succeeding right at the start?
You know, it's just one of those things where they kind of just took a couple rounds to really get into rhythm with each other. A lot of their early plays, I mean, we saw Silly Salamander kick things off right off the get-go on the pistol round. That's been the highlight player for Shakapi. Definitely capable of making some round-changing plays in his own right. But overall, it just was a bit of a warm-up period. I mean, I'm sure Minnetonka are used to kind of having teams that kind of roll over and don't put up too much of a fight, right? They are undefeated so far. So when you run up against an opposition that starts to bite back, and it kind of gives you that wake up call, you know, like, oh, hey, yeah, there still are some squads out here that are going to give us a run for our money. So, I mean, Silly Salamander is quite the competitor in his own right. So Shakapi, I mean, doing what they could, and they had a great start, but in the end, you're going to need more than a strong start to take out a top 3 team in the league.
Yeah,
Right.
100%.
Yeah, well, folks, another great match on the docket today, and the first one, obviously, as well, was great to watch, too. So, 2 awesome matches, but we have one more thing for you guys. We got an interview coming up after a very short break, I believe, if we have that lined up, and
Yes, sir.
we're just going to toss it over there, so we're going to get that all situated. But, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Don't go anywhere. Interview when we come back.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are getting ready for the interview portion of the segment. We have Phantom X joining us. So, welcome to the booth, good sir. And how are you feeling about those games?
Thank you. We're feeling great. We went in feeling a bit nervous, to be honest with you. Shakopee is obviously a very strong team, very strong players, and they had a really good record, going into the game. So there are definitely some nerves there, but uh, after our decisive victory, it definitely feels really good.
For
Awesome.
sure.
Well, that's great to hear. And one thing I also kind of want to ask you about is you guys obviously played it really, really well as a team. Your communication looked to be on point. You guys were synthesizing really, really well. I want to ask you about your composition for that game. Why did you guys choose the players you picked, or rather the agents you picked, and kind of just what was the thought process behind the current composition you guys are running?
Yeah, so we always just pick agents according to everyone's strengths, and Nora or Aaron, he's obviously cracked on the neon. Chris cracked on the chamber, and great supporting cast to really help the team win. So I don't know, we just kind of I don't know. It's a tough question to answer, really, but it's a strong comp. We know how to play it. We've scrimmed. We've got strats. So
For sure.
it just comes together very well.
Hey, you guys look quite clean on that gameplay. Cookie, do you have any questions for Phantom?
On the topic of practice, all that gameplay was very clean and in general just very impressive. How much of that do you think came from practice, right? How much of your strategies were kind of premeditated, pre-practiced, ready to go off the bat?
Yeah, it's definitely a mix of both. We, obviously in practice we, create set strats and try them out, see how they go, but then also we call stuff on the fly and just go with the flow. So we have frankly great strats to really outplay the opponents, but we also just have excellent players who are super adaptable and can react to whatever the opposing team throws at them.
For sure. Yeah, no, you guys showed some great adaptions through the middle points of some of those rounds, and it really led to some turning points to get you guys going on the board. So it was very well played and well thought strategy wise. Epiphany, what else do you have for Phantom?
Yeah, we saw something different tonight. We saw Pearl. We did not, I haven't personally watched Pearl, I don't think this season. And Pearl's just kind of one of those maps that we just don't see get picked a lot. Usually we're seeing Ascent, of course. I want to ask you guys about that pick. Have you guys been playing Pearl a lot? Is that why you want to do it? Maybe just a bit of a throw off? Just tell me about Pearl and your thought process behind that pick.
Yeah, I mean, we practice a lot. We, practice all the maps, but Pearl is just a really great map, honestly, right? Did a great job with it, and it just plays to our strengths really well. So it was definitely a map we were comfortable with going into the game.
Awesome.
For sure. Cookie, any final question for Phantom?
The only thing I've got left is Minnetonka is 5-0. Is there any team you're looking at going, we want to play you, we want to prove we've got what oh my god. We've got what it takes.
I mean, there's really only one real answer here. It's Apple Valley.
Yep.
They've won everything. We want to change that.
For
Simple as
sure,
that.
man. Simple as that. Keeping it simple and sweet. I love it, Phantom. You guys played excellent tonight. You guys have always been a dangerous squad. And a lot of eyes have been pointed in your guys' direction at being one of those top teams. So, with this final closing moments of the interview, any shout outs that you want to give to teammates, coaches, family? This is your time, my guy.
Yeah, first and foremost, shout out to all my teammates. They're absolutely incredible. They, really brought their A game today. They, were hitting their shots, great comms. Everything was just, everything went perfectly. Shout out to Gooder Clan. I love those guys. That's all I got.
All right. Well, we appreciate you stopping by, playing some games for us tonight, and then hopping into the interviewee booth. It was a pleasure, Phantom X, and we hope you guys have a good rest of your season.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
For sure. Take care and have a great rest of the week. Folks, that was Phantom X joining us from the Minnetonka team that is now 5-0. These guys are a force to be reckoned with on, the maps. My goodness. They finished in third last season, but this is a team that is trying to make those changes and trying to find that success to push in for a first place finish. So going to have to watch out for them. Cookie and Epiphany, Great job on that second cast. I mean, any final words from you guys for the night?
I'll say I think that Minnetonka have shown that they're the real deal for sure. You know, this could be like our grand finals of state championship, right? Like this could be our match because they are looking to be towards that level of Apple Valley. You know, Fantanex said that he wanted to play Apple Valley. That is a match that I'm really curious about. Who would win that? But 5-0 is an absolutely unbelievable record to have every single match each week. I mean, that is unmatched. And I think the real kind of thing to look at here is that Apple Valley versus Minnetonka. Which one's going to take an L first? We'll have to see.
Cookie, any final thoughts from you?
I mean, definitely on the topic of Minnetonka, we definitely got a storyline building here. Kind of the top 3 teams. We've got Apple Valley, Minnetonka, and it seems Rogers as well is doing extremely well. It's going to be a really exciting kind of, I guess, summit of the season. We're really going to peak with that kind of excitement, and we're going to go to states with this just level of kind of excitement that we really have not had so far. And on the topic of our first game, that was definitely a show of proving for Lakeville North, right? They're continuing to try and keep themselves in the game against St. Thomas Academy there. They're proving to continue to be kind of a midfield team. Definitely a better mid-season than the start.
For sure. Yeah, so some pretty solid games on the evening, folks. We will come back to you tomorrow with our Smash Bros. And Minecraft stream. We appreciate everybody for stopping in on the broadcast this evening. I've been your host and commentator, Skeptor. As always, Epiphany and Cookie to my left and right. You guys did an excellent job. We'll catch all of you guys tomorrow for some Thursday Mnvl action. We'll see you live at 5. Take care, guys.